10 of the biggest R&B songs ever made. Songs you've cried to, slow danced to, played until the file wore thin. Ask anyone which one sold the most, and you'll hear the same names. Boys That Come In, Mariah, Whitney, probably. You might have the right artist. But the real writer behind the biggest one on this list has never been called R&B once in her life. 10 songs. 10 twists you don't see coming. Starting at number 10. Number 10, Hound Dog, Big Mama Thornton, 1953. In August of 1952, songwriter Jerry Leiber and his partner Mike Stoller were invited to a Los Angeles rehearsal to meet a singer named Willie Mae Thornton. Everyone called her Big Mama. 6 feet tall, built like a wall, and she sang like she'd been doing it her whole life. Leiber and Stoller wrote Hound Dog in the car afterward in about 12 to 15 minutes. Thornton recorded it that same year, and in 1953 it spent 7 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard R&B chart, selling somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million copies. Her original. He learned a tamer Las Vegas lounge cover that had already stripped out her meaning entirely. The real robbery happened earlier. Thornton's label owner registered the song under his own name first. Leiber later said flatly, "We were getting screwed. Their advance check for $1,200 bounced." Thornton reportedly received about $500 and never saw another royalty. She died in 1984 in a Los Angeles boarding house in poverty. Number 9, Respect. Otis Redding wrote this song. Say that out loud once, because most people who grew up loving Aretha's version have never actually sat with that fact. He recorded it first in 1965, and it was one of his signature songs, a blunt, confrontational demand, and he was proud of it. Then in February of 1967, Aretha Franklin got hold of it, and she didn't cover it. She rebuilt it from the studs. She added the now iconic spelled-out chorus, brought her sisters in for backing vocals, and flipped the entire point of view. Turning a man's demand into a woman's declaration. Released that April, it spent 14 weeks on the Billboard R&B chart and hit number 1 on both the R&B and pop charts, winning her 2 Grammy Awards and becoming a defining anthem of the civil rights era. Redding reportedly said, "In essence, that girl took his song. He wasn't wrong, and by most accounts wasn't bitter, just stunned." Legally, the credit and royalties stayed his. Culturally, Respect stopped being his the moment Aretha finished with it. Rolling Stone would later rank her version the greatest song of all time. His original became the blueprint, not the destination. Number 8, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye, 1968.
Hello, Marvin. Yeah, who is this? Frankie, what's happening? Yeah, man, look here.
This one is a genuine Motown power struggle, stranger than most people realize, because the same song became a hit twice. For 2 different artists, before the version everyone remembers today even got released. Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong wrote it in 1966. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles recorded it first. Berry Gordy passed on releasing it. Marvin Gaye recorded his version in 1967. Gordy passed again, unconvinced by the slower, moodier arrangement. Gladys Knight and the Pips finally got clearance. And on September 28, 1967, their version hit #1 on the R&B chart, stayed there 6 weeks, and became Motown's best-selling single in the label's history. Moving roughly 2.5 million copies, 13 months later, Gordy finally let Gaye's version out. It hit #1 on the pop chart for 7 weeks, darker and slower, and completely rewrote the song's identity. Every oldie station, film, and commercial since reaches for Gaye's take. Gladys Knight had the bigger initial hit and Motown's actual sales record. She still watched the legacy get absorbed by a version recorded over a year later, and there's no clean word for what that feels like. Real quick, before the second half, because you've earned the honest version of this ask. We spend actual hours chasing down conflicting accounts on stories like these instead of just repeating whatever the internet already assumes. And that only stays possible if this channel actually grows. So if you're still here at number 8, do the thing, hit subscribe, it's free, and it takes about 1 second. If you want to go further, membership's open, and it funds the next 10 of these directly. Now, back to the list, because it's about to get heavier. Number 7, Stand By Me, Ben E. King, 1961.
When the night has come.
For nearly 25 years, mainstream radio forgot the man who wrote one of the most recorded songs in American history.
As you stand by me.
That's the part of this story that actually matters. Ben E. King wasn't supposed to have a solo career. He was the lead singer of the Drifters, one of the most successful vocal groups of the early 60s, until a dispute over money got him fired from his own group in 1960. Before he left, he'd been working on a ballad built partly around an old gospel melody. He brought it to the Drifters first. They passed. So he recorded it himself in 1961. Stand By Me reached number 4 on the pop chart and number 1 on R&B. And over the following 6 decades, it would be recorded by more than 400 other artists and streamed billions of times. And then King mostly disappeared from view, playing smaller venues while his own song kept climbing without him. It took a 1986 film, literally titled Stand By Me, to reintroduce him to a new generation. He was 72 when he finally got a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, nearly a quarter-century late to a debt the industry owed him. Number 6, What's Going On? Marvin Gaye, 1971. Berry Gordy called it the worst thing he'd ever heard. Not a rival, not a critic. The head of Marvin Gaye's own label, about the song that would go on to define his entire legacy. Gaye brought What's Going On to Motown in 1970. Co-written with Al Cleveland and Ronaldo, Obie Benson of the Four Tops, whose original idea came after witnessing police violence against protesters in Berkeley, California. Motown's Quality Control Board rejected it almost unanimously.
Pick its side, punish me.
Reportedly, only Stevie Wonder defended it internally. Gordy refused to release it, worried it was too political. Gaye refused to record anything else until it came out. The standoff broke because a Motown executive named Harry Balk quietly pushed 100,000 copies out to record stores without Gordy's knowledge. It caught fire instantly, becoming Motown's fastest-selling single ever. Gordy flew to Gaye's home and struck a deal. Full creative control if Gaye could deliver an album in 30 days. Gaye did it in 10. The album is now widely considered one of the greatest ever made. Gordy himself has since called it possibly Motown's finest release, which tells you everything about how close we came to never hearing it. Number 5, Lean on Me, Bill Withers, 1972.
Lean on me when you're not.
Picture a factory floor. Bill Withers is 33 years old, building airplane parts, and has never cut a record in his life. That's who wrote this song, not some polished studio kid, a man who'd waited most of his adult life just to be heard. And it shows in every note once you know it. Lean on Me hit number 1 in 1972. Withers went on to build one of the most respected catalogs in soul music history. Then in 1985, at 41 years old, he walked away from the recording industry completely and never came back. This wasn't a talent decline. By most accounts from people who knew him, Withers had simply reached a breaking point with how record labels operated, feeling the business side cared more about moving product than protecting the people who made it. He spent the next 3 decades largely out of public life, while his songs kept playing at weddings, funerals, and everything in between. He gave one substantial interview before his death in 2020 and said he didn't regret leaving. Still, it's hard not to wonder what else he had left unsaid. Number 4, End of the Road, Boys to Men, 1992. 13 weeks at number 1. That single number broke a chart record that had stood since Elvis Presley, and it still undersells what actually happened next. 4 singers from Philadelphia, harmonizing in a way that felt less like a performance and more like a group of people finishing each other's sentences, released End of the Road in 1992, and it simply refused to leave the top spot. That 13-week run wasn't even their peak. 2 years later, I'll Make Love to You spent 14 weeks at number 1. The year after that, One Sweet Day, which we'll get to shortly, broke the record again. 3 of the longest-running number 1 singles in Billboard history, from the same group, inside 3 years. No group before or since has come close to that stretch. Ask a casual music fan today to name Boys to Men's biggest cultural moments, though, and you'll usually get a long pause. Not because the music faded, it's still massive on streaming and instantly recognizable within 2 notes. It's that the conversation about what they actually did to the charts in the 90s rarely gets revisited with the weight it deserves. Number 3, One Sweet Day, Mariah Carey and Boys to Men, 1995. Before this was a chart record, it was a letter to somebody who wasn't going to read it. That's the part that gets skipped every time this song comes up. Both Mariah Carey and Boys to Men had independently been writing about people they'd lost before they ever sat down to record together. When the 2 acts combined their material, the result wasn't built to be a hit first. It was built as something closer to an open letter to people who would never hear it, released in November of 1995. One Sweet Day spent 16 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming the longest-running number 1 single in the chart's 50-year history at that point. a record that stood untouched for 23 years until Lil Nas X finally passed it in 2019. That's arguably why it still connects the way it does, decades later. Almost everyone carries some version of that same unfinished conversation, something they wish they'd said to someone who's no longer around. And the song keeps giving people a place to put it, chart record or not. Number 2, I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston, 1992. This is where the list gets complicated, because depending on how you measure it, this might actually be the real number 1 on this entire countdown. And we'll explain exactly why once we reach the top spot.
I'll think of you every...
Most people think of this as purely a Whitney Houston song. In performance, it is. But Dolly Parton wrote it in 1973, the same day she wrote Jolene, as a farewell to her longtime partner, Porter Wagoner. It hit number 1 on the country charts in 1974. When it did, Elvis Presley wanted to record it. His manager, Colonel Tom Parker, reportedly wanted half the publishing in exchange. Dolly said no and kept her song entirely. In 1992, cast in The Bodyguard.
That is all I am taking.
Whitney Houston recorded it on her co-star Kevin Costner's suggestion, opening completely a cappella against her producer's objections. Dolly personally called that producer to make sure a missing verse got restored.
So goodbye, but please.
Whitney's version spent 14 weeks at number 1, and by 2025, Guinness confirmed it the best-selling single in history by a female solo artist. Over 24 million copies sold. Number 1, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, Otis Redding, 1968.
Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching
3 days. That's how long Otis Redding lived after finishing the song. He started writing it in August of 1967 on a houseboat in Sausalito, watching ships cross San Francisco Bay after Monterey Pop, wanting to change his whole sound.
watching the tide roll.
On December 7th, he finished it at Stax Studios with guitarist Steve Cropper. At the end, he was supposed to ad-lib a closing verse. He forgot what he wanted to say and started whistling instead.
Look like nothing's gonna change.
The first 2 takes were rough enough that the engineer joked he wouldn't make it as a whistler. The third worked. He planned to swap it for real lyrics later. He never got the chance.
Guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here.
3 days later, his plane went down into Lake Monona, Wisconsin. He was 26. Sit with that. A man finishes the best song of his life, plans to come back and get it right, and never gets the chance.
Drop my home. Now I'm just gonna sit.
That temporary whistle is the only version we'll ever have.
Resting my bones in this loneliness.
The song became the first posthumous number 1 in American chart history. And here's the piece tying this list together. Otis Redding wrote Respect, back at number 9, then wrote this, his own masterpiece, and never lived to hear the world fall in love with it.
On the dock of the bay.
10 songs. 10 different kinds of unfair. If this is the kind of history you actually want, the kind that doesn't stop at the chart position, subscribe. Because we've got a lot more of these coming. And if one of these stories hit you harder than the others, tell us which one in the comments. We read every single one. We'll see you in the next one.